Now I feel I've made a good start to this. I've essentially covered the whole of the paper with paint. I've got a sky which is going to encourage me to finish the painting, and I've felt my way into doing a preliminary foreground wash. So I feel now that we've done that, we can start to feel our way and do the trees and some of the foliage and this old gate that's leaning up against the trees. Now we'll do the first tree, which is slightly to the right of centre. Raw sienna and a little bit of cobalt violet and a tiny bit of cerulean. Trying to mix up a nondescript colour. So we'll have that tree about here. And the important thing is to keep changing the colour. So let's have a bit of viridian with some raw umber now. It leans over. Let's have some burnt umber with ultramarine. It'll look a little bit darker against the light sky as you look up. Back to the lighter colours here. Hold the brush as far away from the hair end as you can to get a nice free flowing wash. Introduce little angles to it. Now I've got to think carefully here because we've got this gate which I'm going to have to paint by painting the negative shapes. Now just while that's going off, we'll introduce some darker colour on the right hand side, much thicker paint. To get the sun is coming from over my left shoulder. So that can merge with the, let's put a bit of viridian with that now. Same here, it's a little bit blue, so let's have some viridian with raw umber. Raw umber is I always find is quite a heavy pigment, so might stay put where we put it. Rinse. Let's have some cerulean, just to introduce a little bit of naughty blue colour there. Rinse. Just wipe the brush again. Bit of raw umber. Go down here. And then just with a dampish brush, just try and soften that edge a little bit more to get a feeling of roundness. Now the cast shadows of the various branches can actually be quite soft on the edge because of the way the sun comes around or way a branch, a round surface cylinder essentially blocks off the light. And these little cast shadows are very useful because they can indicate they describe the roundness of the tree trunk. Now we've got this bush here. Let's have some Windsor blue and burnt sienna, because it's quite a dark green. Put a bit of cadmium with that as well. Just enough moisture for it to flow off the brush. That'll cast a shadow, of course. You can make that fairly bluey across here. And the bush will also be a little bit lighter here. Let's exaggerate that with a bit of yellow. Now come back and paint the rest of the bush. Get the top of the, and of course I'm also painting the gate. And it's really a sort of psychological problem of painting the gate by attempting to paint the negative shape. And it's funny how we can focus on the gate but have trouble focusing on the spaces between the spars of the gate. Now, although what it will lack in accuracy, hopefully it'll gain in life and freshness. Don't be tempted to start getting close to the paper and being careful. I've carried on painting at arm's length. Introduce a richer green there. And then we can, having got the gate over with all its faults, but hopefully it'll look a lot livelier. I don't want the gate to look as if it's been painted by somebody who's worried about making a mistake, even though they might have been. This is a little bit of raw umber and viridian. Get a lighter side of that. There's quite a lot of ivy on it. It's quite a different type of tree, a lot of ivy on this tree. Which we can indicate with the odd ivy leaf on its on the outside edge, and of course there'll be some quite steep, not steep, quite dark greens, and as this is quite thick, it won't go anywhere as I'm applying it to quite a wet surface. There's various shadows again, must be consistent with the shadows. So if the light is coming from the left hand side for my first tree on the left, it's got to come from the left hand side on this tree. Don't paint one tree in the morning and one in the afternoon, otherwise it will look as if the light's coming from two different sources. afford ourselves a little bit of dry brush there, and perhaps here. Where it's dark, try and avoid having too much sparkle. And then we can add one or two branches going out. Very easy to overdo these sort of things. Put a bit more, some blue with one. And I'll add the branches wherever I feel they'll add to my picture. Take what you want, leave the rest, and if there's anything lacking in the picture which you feel would have enhanced it, then add it. Now there's quite a big yellowy log pile here, which I don't want to make too much of, but it was is a nice sort of colour of bit of raw sienna, bit of raw umber, and a bit of a cadmium. Again, keep changing the colour. While that's drying, let's take a smaller brush and add some of the branches to this tree here now. And there's one come out here. Let's put a bit more blue with it. Goes behind and then reappears here. Let's take a slightly different brush to get a smaller mark. And there's a few sort of coming down from higher up here. Just enough to give the sense of life going on, but censor out anything that isn't going to strengthen the picture. And sometimes you can strengthen a picture by leaving things out, frankly. Right. Let's just stop there and let that dry out for a few minutes. Now in that part, I tried to keep my painting as fresh as possible by adopting the policy of painting each area just the once and living with whatever mark I made. We'll just leave that to dry, and in the third and final part we'll feel our way and do the trees and foliage on the left and add some shadows cast by other trees outside of the picture plane.